Hi, I'm Plant Gals, and today, my cat's being naughty in the background. That's not what we're doing today. Today, I have some plants that are over here, and I have some supplies that are over here, and we are gonna work our way through all of them. Essentially, I'm moving. I talk about this in like every video, but moving means that there's a couple different things I need to consider for, oh my gosh, this chair is squeaky. I hope that's not gonna be super annoying. I have chopping, I have propping, I have like trellising, moss poling, pretty much every plant chore I have to get done today. So I'm gonna start with, I think, some repots. There's some that I'm not even 100% sure what I'm gonna do with. And you're actually kind of lucky because a lot of these are actually really, really cool plants. We can repot maybe my obliqua first. So my obliqua actually put out this really long runner. I've been lucky. And it just had a lot of plants, but it finally decided to put out a runner. And I don't really want my obliqua to be putting out runners, so I think I'm gonna try and put it on a moss pole. I have these little ones here. These are the smallest, the mini moss pole that we sell at my shop. Everything is from Lace and Leaves, so yeah, like pretty much everything. The plants, some of them are, but yeah. Anyway, all the supplies are, but definitely my obliqua needs to go into a 6-inch pot. So we're gonna start with a moss pole. Probably, I have some leftover moss that I'm gonna work with. I made a video where I tested these out, and didn't know some important things. I didn't know that you actually had to like pre-fold them. There's a really bad pole in the mix here. This is the strawberry shake that I put on a moss pole in my first moss pole video, and it's literally, the pole is so bad. It's literally terrible. So we're gonna hide that, but we'll probably have to address the strawberry shake in the room later. But I actually know how to do them now. You have to pre-fold them, and they're called a D-shaped moss pole because this part at the front should be flat, like kind of like the back of the D, and then the rest of the pole should like be curved, like a D. So you have to find the little things, and you have to fold them like you're doing like origami, because, and this is what I kept doing in the other video, these break, and that's what I kept doing, is I kept breaking them. So you have to really well pre-fold the poles, like really well. I love these poles and they work great, and once I figured out how to do them properly, you don't just instantly fold them together. They became extra great. Okay, so now I have the front. It's literally just like filling up a little burrito. And I'm doing this first because I'm gonna have to kind of pot the obliqua into the pot with the pole. And see it from this angle maybe. Now these ones only have one option, but a lot of the poles have like multiple. I have another bigger one here of like where you can attach them, kind of like the back of a bra, if you are familiar. You have one like these on the sides, and they have options of where they can go. So that's just based on the size of the pole. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just kind of an eyeballing thing. It's actually kind of hard to figure out how much to fill up these poles because you obviously like want some room for the roots, but you also want them to be pretty full so that they're stable. So I really just squish it all in and the roots can just figure it out themselves. I will slowly be making more and more of a mess. That's just repotting. Now, I'm actually not a huge repotter. I do something similar to this maybe once a year. I assess my collection because I don't actually like it. I don't like the stress it puts on my plants. I find that my plants do better when they're really well rooted in their pots. They're just much happier and healthier that way. I found out that they look a lot nicer if you put the little tab through the back instead of having them kind of flipping around on the front. Ta-da! Yay, I made a moss pole and it actually looks really good. I'm making a big mistake that you shouldn't make. I watered a lot of these plants the other day. You should probably not do that. You should probably wait to repot your plants till they're dry because it's a lot easier to do it then. But I want to do it now. But I'm warning you, this is probably not the best idea. So this is a cocoa coir and peat moss mix I have that I added some charcoal too because I really like charcoal, and then I have this My Soil Tropical mix which I also really like My obliqua, I find doesn't like to dry out as much, so I'm gonna use this because my soil one in the black bag is a little bit better draining, which is good for a lot of the other plants we'll be repotting today. But this guy, I honestly just want it to be not too well draining. Another reason why it's a good idea to repot your plants when they're dry is because you usually have to water them, so the soil isn't hydrophobic when you repot plants. So just be smart about that so that you're not like overwatering your plants. Well, guys on the bottom, I'll either cut them back or just fold them up because they don't support the pole in the soil, like they're kind of useless. This plant actually isn't even as rooted as I thought it was. I still think it's probably a good time to just put it on the pole though. So you can see I actually have 2 plants in here. I don't really like taking a lot of the soil off, but that might be kind of how I'm gonna approach this. Okay, so this is actually my little obliqua. Okay, I think I kind of finally got it in a position that I wanted in. Now I know why it was drying out so quickly. The soil on top looked like it was pretty dense, but inside it's like so much perlite. So I thought that it was really well rooted, but it's actually that it's just really, really too well draining for this. So. But yeah, look at this little guy. So cute. It will be going in with its bestie. I'll insert a photo of my obliqua when I got it. It was very small and it didn't have any holes yet. This stuff is the best, this Velcro tape. It works so well. I have a couple of extra little pieces here. I just saved them because it's perfect. It's really good to reuse. It's really important when you're putting them on poles that you try to get the nodes of the plant or the little tiny buddy roots that they're putting out to actually touch the pole. It's really like performing surgery, just trying to be as smart as you can about how you set up these plants. So there's my little monstera obliqua that I potted up. I think I'm gonna cut off this runner and then I might just try and propagate the wet sticks. That used to be a big thing to try and propagate the wet sticks. So we'll see if I have any success with that. I'm gonna start a little propagation area over here. And I will water all of these at the end because I'll probably have a lot more to do. Boom, that's my first one. These are called U-shaped trellises. They're clear. I might end up using some green tape, but I actually was able to find some butterfly clips that I think will be really cute. So my first one this is my Hoya Kaimuki. It's grown a lot since I got it at the Edmonton Air Ride show. And honestly, you might be asking yourself, oh, are you damaging the roots? Probably. Probably a little bit. I think I have a second bag of these somewhere. I'll probably need them. I didn't realize there's only 6 in here, something like that. They're so cute, so they're definitely worth it. This plant is so beautiful. And yeah, it's actually grown like a weed. That one won't need to be watered at the end, which is nice. This is Hoya annacajanoe. I had this stuck to my scatus, the back of my cabinet, but honestly, it needs a real trellis, especially if it's going to be moving, because I'm not going to be able to move it as it's stuck to the trellis. And I think it would appreciate some more stable support. Now, I also don't pull these plants out of the cabinet too much. So this is a really good time to pest check them for me. So far, so good. Here's my Hoya annacajanoe, my little fuzzy Hoya. Next is maybe my favorite Hoya. Can you believe that this hasn't ever been trellised before? This is huge. This is gonna look so good. So these actually aren't butterfly clips. They're dragonfly clips. These are so cute. These are one thing I didn't find at Lace and Leaves. I found these at Apache Seeds in Edmonton. The dragonfly ones are like cooler colors. Blue, pink, orange, green, yellow. Actually, we have no duplicates of the same color. Because even these pinks are different colors. I don't know if you can tell. I think so. These pinks are different colors. All right, time to stab another Hoya. So you might be like, wow, Chloe, like these are some pretty big, like well-established rooted Hoya in some really small pots. And the answer to that is definitely yes, they are. I just really like having my Hoya be able to dry out fast enough, because if they don't, they rot. And I also like having Hoya that are really well rooted. I just feel like they grow better. Now, I will say that I actually, in general, adore Hoya, but don't have the best luck with them. And I was gonna call this one the small stem, but it's actually still pretty big. Like, this small stem is about as long as the stems I was just working with on the other plants. This plant has held on to absolutely beautiful splashing. I've never had an issue with it, which is really nice. You can see here, here is where I cut it. This plant is actually stabilized by this little rat pot, which he will go back into once this is complete. Figuring out how to tackle these is always like a puzzle. The nice thing is if you just work one stem at a time, you can take off ones you already put on and kind of reevaluate how you want to stick them on again so that you're not wasting them. And sometimes the plant goes in directions that you're not really expecting or you don't want it to go into. And in that case, you just have to twist the plant and try and work together. It's not all about aesthetics. It's sometimes just about what's best for the plant. Even though obviously you want your plants to be cute and aesthetic, sometimes, you know, you need to be smart about the actual shape the plant is taking and trying to take on its own. I didn't even realize I have like the rainbow. I have it like yellow, orange, pink, blue. This is so cute. And yeah, like these leaves are probably, I might be able to turn them so they're forwards on the trellis, but I don't think I'll be able to. So they're actually gonna go backwards on this side of the trellis. So this is my Hoya Wilbur graves, all trellised up. And yeah, it's a huge plant in a tiny pot, and then there's its home. There's its rat pot that it lives in. My burle marx flame, look at these roots coming off of it. Yeah, it'll, I think, thrive on a moss pole, and it's not putting out any holes. So I'm hoping a little repot and some pole action will help it to do that. We're gonna put away these little clips. Oh, Tortellini has stolen my obliqua wet sticks. Let's put that where she will not steal them. I have this 6-inch, it's in a 4-inch. My general rule and a lot of people's general rule is that you typically increase by 2 inches. So, pull, we're gonna do what we did last time. Oh yeah, we're gonna do what we did last time, we're gonna fold it. Folded. Now what I love about these poles is that they hold moisture so well. Like the traditional moss poles, like the ones I used to make, were just so annoying because they were open on all sides and they dry out like within the same day, like so fast. And these ones don't do that, which is really nice. So I know that this monstera has pretty thick roots, so I'm honestly probably gonna go into the biggest option of this pole. And also, something that's nice about these is you can just stuff more moss in. Like if you fill up the pole and close it and you realize that you don't have enough moss, you can either stuff it in through the top or through the front, through the little holes in the front to fill it up a bit more. I think I might have to do that with this one just because I'm doing the biggest option, but we'll see. And I'll actually leave a little bit at the top so I don't waste moss because it probably won't need that much pole right now anyway. That's what I did with my albo that I currently have. Now for this guy, I think I'm also gonna use this soil. I really like it. It's been very good to me. So this is just a messy video because repotting, like I said, is messy. Oh yeah, look at those roots. Honestly, probably would have liked it to be a little bit more rooted in its pot, but like I said, we want to get some holes going on this guy because I didn't buy a monstera to not have any holes. And I'm just gonna leave in it has a clear stake on it right now, if you can see that. I'm just gonna leave that to keep it kind of stable because like, yeah, with my little obliquas, they were pretty floppy and it was kind of annoying, so. And yeah, actually, I'm just gonna cut these little tabs off on this one because they're just kind of useless. I think some of them you can like use the tabs to like connect the poles. Doing this is always just a joy because pretty much everything is always confusing and I never really have any idea what I'm doing or what's going on. And I change my mind about 30 times. I even created a list when I went to the store today of like, this is what I need. I know what I'm repotting. I made a list of the things I'm repotting too, so I didn't forget like so I knew like what each supply was going to be for. And I got to the store and I'm like, man, I think I did the list wrong, even though I stood in front of my plant cabinet at the house for like, ooh, this is a little ugly, for like probably 15 minutes making my list. I get to the store and I'm like, man, I think I did this wrong. I don't think I did. Phone. Oh, sorry, my vlog camera, my very expensive vlog camera, which is definitely not my phone, was dying the entire time. Anyway, I finished some stuff. So let's take a look. This was honestly something that I could not have talked and done at the same time, so it's probably a good thing. My strawberry shake. Repotted into a 6-inch, cleaned her up a little bit. She looks better. It's the moss pole that's in this pot is horrendous. I made it on video and it was just terrible. This guy looks really great though. My burle Marx, I'm really happy with how he turned out. Really got a ton of nodes on the pole, ton of roots in the pole, because as you saw, it had like tons of roots on it. So that's good. I have my polypoidioides sitting here. I'll show it off, but I'm actually not going to do anything to it, I don't think. We can actually just take it out of the pot. She is extremely well rooted, but this plant is a pain to grow. And I don't know anybody else who grows one, so I can't get any advice. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that. Now it's time to look around and see if I want to make any decisions on anything. I still have my micans there. I'm like so on the fence about what to do with it. Okay, so this is my chiapense. My brain cannot decide what to do with it, but I think I'm just gonna chop it and restart it because it's just so gangly and it's only leaves on top. The thing about chiapense too is they bleed a lot, so you wanna set it, but I don't know if I'm just gonna pot this whole top cutting up because it is really nice. And then just do a bunch of wet sticks. Is this like a wet stick video? Yeah, look at this plant. That was a pretty big decision to make there. I was watching a YouTube video and somebody was like cutting up their plants. I think it was only plants. It wasn't him, but he was like looking at somebody else's collection. And the people said in the video that childbirth is always hard and a childbirth is always painful or something like that. And I thought that that was so funny. I'm actually even curious what the roots are like in this guy. They're pretty rooted. So do I just have this big long stick? I hate this pole, it's so annoying. So speaking of terrible poles that just are ineffective, so I think I might just chop it back, see if it'll come back. I even have a zip tie on here. Like, this is just horrendous. This pot I do like though. I don't know if pot's the right word. It's a Timbit bucket from Tim Hortons that I bought for Halloween and then drilled holes in the bottom or something, and then yeah, but I just need to take this stupid pole. Look, it's not even rooted into the pole. Like, why do I have this in here? This is going in the garbage. Okay. Ooh. Whatever was supporting it is rotted. There's no way it's gonna activate all these nodes, so I think I'm gonna cut it down to like maybe like 3 nodes. Look at this stick. So I have like, what do I have? 1, maybe here, because it has a few activated nodes down there. And then I just do like, wow. So the plant should have lots of energy to activate some of these nodes. It looks like it was already thinking about it anyway. I don't know, we'll see what this guy does. Kind of crazy that I just had that giant plant and now I don't. I almost want to cut one more off. No, we'll leave it like this. See what it gets up to for now. I do have that clear stake though, and I actually maybe I'll use the chopstick. Oh, it might not be deep enough, but I do want to still support this guy. Sure, the chopstick will be perfect because he's just a little sad little stick, and I think that just a little extra support will maybe go a long way for this little guy on our travels together when I move. But yeah, that one was just gonna be too much of a pain to move, and it was so floppy already. Like, yeah, no, this was inevitable, but still exciting. At some point I will update on what this guy decided to do. But yeah, I'll definitely carefully root the top into some moss. Wow, a stick. That's kind of an uneventful thing. So I guess like let's cut this up. I can talk a little bit about how you want to do that. You can see where the roots are coming out. This white stuff is it bleeding essentially. So this is a node where the stem will thicken and these little nubs will stick out. I'm just gonna cut about halfway. Oh God, this is a really thick stem between each. So that way I try to have as much stem on either side and it's equally distributed amongst them, because I'm gonna put these flat in moss and they'll have the potential to rot. And I actually don't want them to rot because then that would suck, right? So I am going to give them as much stem on each side, because if they start to rot, then I can actually cut the stem back, let them callus over again. And it kind of gives you a little bit of insurance. Now this guy is 2 nodes, but it's already, this is a spent node. It's already used this node to put out a second one. So I'm actually gonna keep these 2 nodes together, because that one node, very low odds of it actually putting out another stem. So it's essentially just one useful one. And if any of the nodes are too close together, or they're hard to cut or whatever, like you don't have to go 1 node at a time. In fact, it's probably safer to go have a couple, because there's more energy in the plant and more ability for the plant to work. Okay, so let's see. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 wet sticks. We can actually do the same with the obliqua if we want to. So the obliqua's nodes are a little bit harder to identify, but still like easy. The same deal. We can see this swelling here in the stem where it gets a little bit thicker. It's hard to see, but it does have little guys poking out, little rooties. So we're just gonna do the exact same thing, cut somewhere in the middle. This one's obviously a lot easier to cut. And these guys are also gonna go in moss, because moss is my favorite way of propagating anyway, but if it's a wet stick, then it's really my favorite way of propagating, because it's kind of the only, well, I mean, you could use soil or you could use perlite or something else, but that's how I like to do it. And then we'll go into our little prop cup. So now we have a bunch of little wet sticks. How many obliqua ones did I take? And remember, this is the runner, so this isn't like the base of the plant. This was already coming out the top. So I have these, and during COVID, used to sell for like $200 a piece, these little wet sticks. Not even rooted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these wet sticks. They're worth about maybe $1 now. Oh, this guy's weeping all over the countertop, but yeah, this is so beautiful. This, and then I can repot this and it'll be very, very nice again, but it has to dry out first because they're so oopy goopy. And I actually want to be careful now that I think about that, because that might irritate my cats if they get into it, and cats get into everything. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. Let's put him up there. Now, I've got a bunch of finished plants over there, and there's one left. I could repot it up into a 4-inch and put it on a pole, because I can't go on a pole right now. I could stake it. So this is what my micans looks like right now. Now, I want the micans to get bigger leaves. The thing is, my problem is that it's already about as tall as the pole. So I think I'm gonna cut it back, put it on this clear stake, and propagate it, because it's really cute. And you don't actually, for a while, you kind of saw them around. You still see the halo or whatever, which I don't really like. But I have a quite nice one, so it could be nice to have some props of it. And micans are pretty easy to prop, especially how I'll do it in moss. I've propagated many, many micans. I don't know, let's just cut it here. And when it's like big like this, you just gotta pick somewhere. We're gonna take this chopstick out, swap it with the clear stake. And then, you know, maybe this micans will feel more empowered to start activating some of its other little nodes and not just being a long vine anyway. And I can actually use really little cuts of this tape for this guy. Sometimes when I repot, I don't actually have to cut any tape because I have so much that I can reuse. Right now, a lot of it is in use, so I can't do that. And I want to try and be careful not to cover up the nodes too when I do this, because that's where the new parts of our stem are going to come from. Okay, so there's my new little micans. And I took off quite a bit of it. So same deal. But this one's not a long stick with no leaves on it, so it's pretty easy. If a leaf is coming out of it, then it's a node. And then anywhere I see a dead leaf, pluck it. Now sometimes something funny that happens is people will propagate things the wrong direction, because when they're taking sticks like this, they can't remember which way's up and which way's down. And this one's actually funny because of the way it grew. That it might be kind of fun for me to figure that out too. But in general, even if the leaf is upside down, the direction that it's like growing out, it grows out of the top. So in the V here, this is it coming out of like the top. So if you were going to put it straight into soil, you put it this way, not this way, because they generally don't grow a leaf down like that. So even though this leaf is upside down, we know that this is how it would be potted in the soil. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's actually pretty good. 8. The obliqua and the chiapense, I'll probably end up selling all those because I have the obliqua and I have the chiapense and I don't really need more, but insurance is always good. Let's look at all the things we've cut up today. I have, or repotted. So this guy is so beautiful. Let's get it close to the camera so you can see all of the beautiful speckling on all these leaves. So yeah, there we have it. This one is my Hoya Carnosa Wilbur Graves Russia. Stick him over here. This is my Hoya annacajanoe. This is the one with the fuzzy leaves. These ones weren't propagated, these were just trellis. This one was really easy. This is my Hoya Kaimuki that we trellised up with the big, dark, glossy leaves. I really, really enjoy this plant. Move it over here. My monstera obliqua that we got a ton of little cuttings from, and hopefully will turn into plants, even though this plant is super full. We really didn't, we essentially cut off one runner. So hopefully this plant will start putting out some bigger leaves on the moss pole. Our stump, the old chiapense that died. Well, it's not dead, but it will resurrect, hopefully. And then yeah, I will update in a future video if this guy resurrects, because I actually would like it to. And then hopefully I'll have another nice one, because syngonium chiapense is one of my favorite plants ever. This is the one that I had to do off camera. This is my strawberry shake on the really crappy pole that I made in my moss pole video quite a while ago, like I guess probably a year ago now. Very beautiful. You can see the leaves on this one. Looks a lot happier, and all of these will be watered at the end to stabilize them. My burle marx flame that hasn't flamed yet, but hopefully we could encourage some flame in this. And then obviously all my cuttings and my variegated micans. Hopefully all these guys move nicely, and supporting them and getting them all stable is really going to help and just make that move so much easier. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, please excuse my mess on the countertop. I will have lots of really fun updates in the future. Thank you for repotting with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!